Okay, we're moving into a second week of June. Oh my God. The theme for this month is Sounds of Summer, and today's topic title is Rad. Now, as I was preparing for this, I thought, yeah, it sounded really cute when I first gave it to Polly, because the three talks would be Grad, Rad, and Dad. It just sounded cute. And so I kept it. And then as I got ready to work on the talk, I was like, what were you thinking? How do you explain that to people? And originally, part of the reason I chose it, besides the rhyme and the cuteness of it, was I remember there was a period of time where rad was a fun word that meant people, it's like, oh, you are really rad, you're cool, it's hot, it's something, it was a positive. So there was that, and then I thought, well, that's not enough to build a whole talk on, Duchess, thank you for thinking of that. So I went online and I thought, well, what else does rad mean? Well, there was a movie that Hal Needham directed back in the 70s or 80s. I was like, okay, I never heard of that. But then there was a list of acronyms for RAD, which I never knew. And the list was yay long, but I picked a few that I liked. Royal Academy of Dance. You remember your hands? All right. Radical, as in mathematics, or I guess radical being a rebel, radical. The Rainbow Alliance for the Deaf. If John and Kathy were here, they would like that. As we get ready for Pride Day, we could do that. Here's one: Retiree Activity Day. Yes. I knew you guys would like that. Isn't that amazing? And then the one that I liked the best was Read All Day. I'm rad. I read all day. I would like to be, so I'm rad. So that, in case you're wondering, or you read the thing and went, what the heck did she mean by rad? I wasn't totally sure. It was way too short. So you can pick any one of those. You can dance, you can retire, you can read with me as we go along for Grad, Rad, and Dad in the Sounds of Summer. The concept being, really, the little seed of the idea that started this was that rad meant something cool, awesome, amazing. And what I wanted to remind you this summer as we go forward, even though I know it's kind of like lazy summer, that you are really awesome. And when I started last week, we talked about, well, here we are at the 6-month mark. How are you doing with your goals, with your air quotes, resolutions? How are you doing with where you want to be? Because here we are at 6 months, and some of us are like, oh, yeah, I was going to do that, wasn't I? Oh, yeah, well, later. Oh, it's summer. I'm not going to do it now. It's summer. And I wanted you to remember that, yes, we need to focus where we are and what we want to do, and we can use the tools for that, but I also wanted you to remember how totally awesome you are, how rad you are. And I was thinking, there are several people in this room who are going to know this person, this quote. This quote, things turn out best for the people who make the best out of the way things turn out. You like that? I will, just for you, Jerry. Things turn out best for the people who make the best out of the way things turn out. Art Linkletter. Not a name you've heard for a bazillion years, right? And so if some of you who don't know who it is, yeah. So, but I thought about that, and the reason I chose the opening song of Always Look on the Bright Side of Life was because depending upon where you are, what you have or haven't accomplished in these past 6 months, or how you are today, you need to turn your attention to that which you wish to desire, experience, and express, and look on the bright side of life, and things turn out best for the people who make the best out of the way things turn out, which is a real precursor to when, what's her name, Byron Katie was talking about loving what is, allowing what is. What we talk about and we teach in this principle is that if things are happening in your life, good, bad, indifferent, challenging, et cetera, that we need to be present and mindful to them as they are, understand them if we need to, and then transform them if we want to. So we get to do that. And an anonymous author said, we cannot direct the wind, but we can adjust the sails. So if we have been blown about by the storms of whatever goes on in our life, we can say, peace, be still. And we can use these tools and these instruments called spiritual practice, spiritual mind treatment, affirmations, meditations, by which to change the direction of the sails so that we have a smooth course ahead. Now, Those of you, well, you've heard it in the announcement, but not everybody knows or whatever. We just completed a class last week or this week. Sunday to me is usually the end of the week, but I think for most people it's the beginning. That confuses me. But on Wednesday, we completed a class based on the book E Squared by Pam Grout. And when I first announced this to you, I said I wanted to do something fun for summer. It was a 5-week class, and I wanted to bring a fresh approach to all of this teaching. Because, you know, I've been in this movement and teaching for a lot of years, and you know this stuff, and it's like, you know how to spell the, but then when you go to spell, you go, T-H-E. It's something you know so much that you almost take it for granted. So I wanted something that would also kind of refresh me, excite me about what our principles are, not just have it be so linear and textbook. So we have this 5-week class, which was so much fun. And we had so many demonstrations. I'm probably going to teach the class again one more time before September or October, where her new book, E Cubed, is going to be released, and we're going to take it again to do 9 more experiments. How many of you were here that took the class? Oh, you're all in the back row. Yes, yes, yes. Demonstrations, fun. Hello? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So, one of the things that she was reminding me in the back, which was the other reason why I thought I liked it, is that she was just talking about in the back, as we wrap it all up, she was saying, make sure that you shift again to, instead of saying what's wrong with my life, what isn't working in my life, you start shifting to what is right, what is working in my life, and always appreciate and look on the bright side of life, embellish, affirm, and dream, because you are awesome. And in my case today, you are rad. So this book was amazing. So we were talking about principles. She took the same principles that are in quantum physics, the same principles that are in our teaching of religious science, and she put them in a very fun, easy, today, current way to understand and to apply, which is what we did. And we all participated in these 9 experiments. And so I was thinking about the fact that we get so stuck in our humanness about reality, about the world being what we can see and taste and touch and feel. And we sometimes ignore and forget about the invisible reality that is who we are. And that's what we teach in here, is that we take from the invisible reality, the creative mind, the law, and outpicture it into form. I mean, if you thought about it, where was the chair that you're sitting on now? Where was it before it was manufactured and brought here? It was an idea in someone's mind that outpictured in creative projects that people came together and sewed and drilled and did, but it was not a chair. It wasn't birthed as a chair. A newborn comes out and is birthed into the world, but where were they before that birth day? It was an idea, a seed in the mind of God, a seed in the mind of the parents in that case, that outpictured itself in form, in that case as a baby or as a chair. So what we did is we used experiments that did that, because we need to remember to get ourselves out of being stuck with our 3-dimensional world and tap into what we know. Because when you believe more in what you don't see than what you do see, then what you do see you won't see, and what you... Oh, I almost had it right. Ernest says it, and then Dr. Michael Beckwith reframed it, but the idea being that even though you may not see it in physical form yet, we need to remember that if you begin to see it in your mind, capital M, in your vision, capital V, then you can start to outpicture it, even if it doesn't exist yet. And I think what a lot of us forget, and I'll use myself this week first because I can address that, is that when we don't see it in a certain time frame, you know, it's like, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. Why isn't it changed? I did my homework. I said my affirmation. Where is it? When we don't see it, we often, sometimes think, well, it's never going to come. Whether it's the loving relationship, whether it's the new job, whether it's the health and healing. That's what I've been looking at the past couple of weeks. It's like, come on already. We're doing all the right stuff. And there's a part, I witnessed it for myself, there's a part of me that goes, it's never going to happen. And we forget about, first of all, faith and trust, and we also forget that we're working on God's clock, not always our human analog, although you can purchase a raffle ticket for an analog watch. We have to shift from... We have to shift from that concept of analog, being able to see that, into the internal idea of what is to outpicture. And that, again, is what this class talked about. So this will make sense for all of you basics. I know you can't see everything, but I'm going to hold it up. So one of the experiments that we did in class, real basic foundation, basic Psalm 100, I think, was seed, soil, plant. This is what we teach. We teach it with our teaching symbol. The top part of the symbol is the idea, the seed, the creativity of the inspiration, the greater thought, the thing itself, spirit, one mind. So we have the seed. It moves into the middle part, which is the soil. But we refer to it in science of mind as the law, the creative mind. This is where you plant the seed, the idea, into the soil, the fertile place within you, so that it outpictures in the third level, which is form, the demonstration. So we had an experiment of planting seeds. Now, y'all know me. If it's got garden or kitchen in the word, it's not in my vocabulary in my world at all. It's like, what? So Polly had to buy the dirt and the seeds for me, because it was like, what? And these cute little things, although she does suggest you can use egg cartons, because it was like, oh, now what do we do? So the concept for this particular exercise in the class was to take half the row of either this or the egg carton, plant these are little green beans. Okay, sidebar. I love green beans. I've grown up with green beans all my life, but I'm a city girl, so green beans come in a can. Oh. Truly, I had no idea they could look like that. I still don't know what I'm going to do with that, because that doesn't look like dinner, but that's what it did. Okay, so we got these seeds, and we were supposed to plant them, and now this is an interesting thing, and half the seeds, either half this way or this way, whichever you want, half the seeds you were supposed to give extra TLC to. Really a bit more attention. Not to the exclusion of the other side. This wasn't about condemnation or not wanting the other ones to grow, but to direct your attention and power towards that. I borrowed Don's example because mine are already in a big planter that he put out there for me, so I had to do this. But what I wanted you to get, because it's really simple to see this idea of putting a little seed in the soil, watering it every day, putting it in sunlight, and then watching it grow. But in addition, what we do is we talk to it, we affirm for it, we love on it, grow, grow, grow. And there's these little cute little things also popping up somewhere. It's like totally an awesome thing. Those of you are going like, yeah, okay. City, apartment dweller, all my life, okay? This is a whole new concept. Totally. So it was a new concept in the green and the growing part, but it's a new concept of refreshing the ideas of seed, soil, plant. And then Gail, who is in class, also brought, you can't quite see these, but she was talking about poppies that she had pulled, and she said the little seeds, they are microscopic, by the way, guys, I don't know how they do it, came out of these little seed shells and started popping in her car. And I was like, wow. Seeds pop. This is what we can do, and this is what we do with the seed of an idea of something that we want to nurture, that we want to love on, that we want to affirm in order to outpicture and grow into something rad called a demonstration, called a manifestation, call it what you will, whether it's about money, it's about a relationship, it's about work, it's about health, that we have to plant the seed. Now, what I learned while we were doing that is that sometimes, so you do that, you get the soil, you plant the seed, and then other things come into play, such as impatience. Come on. According to the book, you're supposed to be sprouting like right now madly. Why aren't you? Grow, where are you? And it took, on my plants didn't come up as fast as everybody else's plants came up. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't have it in sun. Or maybe, I have a belief that I can't plant and grow. Really? And so once, somewhere in the middle of this process, I started to remember, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what this is about. I still loved on them, but I identified for myself through this process that there is still a part of me that believes I can't grow something. People do not give me plants because they tend not to survive in my realm. So I didn't know about this. So I understood in this process that yes, I had the seed of an idea, in this case a real green bean seed. Yes, I had beautiful soil that we watered and we packed and did all this stuff, meaning I had the creative mind, I had the idea that I wanted to picture something, and I planted it in there. However, what I neglected in this tiny little experiment, what I neglected is that there were weeds of old seeds of negative thoughts. Negative thoughts in this goofy case, such as, Duchess, you can't grow anything. You've got a cement thumb. You're not going to make this happen. And then of course the book and my higher mind's going, that you can't, that's not true. Of course you can, of course you can. Love on the. So once I understood and identified what was standing in my way with just something as this simple little experiment, I mean, look at, is that like totally cool? I mean, it's just beautiful. Okay, once I identified that, guess what? That night, not even during the day, it was like so cool. Suddenly it was like, do 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 do, ding 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 ding. It was like, Don, come in here. Look, it's happening. Now, what was really interesting for me was it actually happened on the side of the experiment where I wasn't supposed to give it the most love. But again, I identified I didn't like that idea. It was like, how could I love this child more than this child? So I was loving on all of them. And this one was like, do-do-do. So we looked at it, and it was like, that's so cool. I took a picture. I have to be able to send it to the class, the students. And then later that day, Don goes, come in here. The same one was like now, it was almost like Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors. It was this giant thing. And then the other ones were coming out. It's delicious. And so I said, now what do we do with it? It doesn't look like anything I know how to eat. But he said, now we plant it outside. Oh, really? Okay. Here, honey. So he put mine in a planter, and so I borrowed his for today because he's got this, and there's some new little sprouts to do that. All that humor aside, the idea being, again, is that I got to look at where I have seeds of doubt and negativity. Now, they are probably, I would say, 97.5% all dormant seeds, things that I don't consciously believe now. If you were to come up to me and say to me, Duchess, do you really believe you can't grow something? I'd say, of course not. I can do anything I want. I operate in the field of all potentiality. I can do anything I put my attention on, support and nurture with right thinking, with light and sun in this case, sun, water, etc. Of course I can. If you were to come up to me about something else and ask me a question, I would probably say, well, no. However, what these little experiments and what the process of life allows us to do is I get to look at where I still have dormant seeds of negativity, doubt, or whatever, disbelief that is impacting my current garden. I'm looking at that a lot for me, this cycle of time. I'm doing that, and I love the fact that we had this wonderful class by which to nudge me, to goose me, to reveal some new ideas, to bring a fresh approach and a fresh insight. Because again, I do this all day. I talk principle all day. I talk, I pray, do da, 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 da. And sometimes it's like, oh yeah, wait a minute. Peace, be still. And no. So I've applied that to the concept of what spirit is about, and what I did was I found, an interview online, or I think it was in an article in O Magazine, whenever, and it was Oprah interviewing Carolyn Myss, the author and medical intuitive, and I went into the bookstore today because it was around the time that she wrote this book, Sacred Contracts. We have this book in our library. So it's a big one, but the interview reminded me that I may have to check this out from our library because it's really good. So I want to give you a little bit of the interview because I think it's a wonderful foundational approach to the idea of who we are again and spirit, and how we use this teaching just in the simplified manner of seed, soil, plant. Seed, the inspiration and the idea that God moves in through us, whether it's to grow a plant, to write a book, to get a new job, to meet the love of your life, whatever that seed is, putting it into the soil, the creative mind, our creative law, then so that it outpictures. And we want to understand what might be in our soil, because sometimes in soil there are rocks and pebbles you don't need or stuff. Let's remove that. So in the Carolyn Mace interview, Oprah begins by asking Carolyn, what did you mean by the word spirit? And I thought that was a good one for all of us because we use spirit interchangeably with God. Most of us are okay with being spiritual but not religious. We tend to capitalize S, spirit, because we do refer to it as the infinite mind, the one, spirit, infinite intelligence, God. So this is what Carolyn May said, spirit. Your spirit is the part of you that seeks meaning and purpose. It's the part drawn to hope, that will not give in to despair, and it's the part of you that has to believe in something more. I love that. You should see everything about your life as a lesson. Now I'm going to stop for a second there. So it's that part of you. It's, to me, I translate that as that animation of God and life, capital L, within you that seeks to know more, be more, lives in the hope, not the desperate hope, not that one, but the hope that, the thing with feathers in the poem, that joyous expectancy of knowing that we are here for a purpose. Remember, our theme for the year is passion and purpose. We are here for a purpose, and the hope to reveal the passion within us to do that which we individually are meant to do. And then the skills and tools to remove anything that stands in the way. So that's spirit. So Carolyn goes on to say, if something is going on in your life, that's a challenge, or that's difficult, or that you keep butting your head up against, and you go, why is that? She goes on to say, see everything about your life as a lesson. Ask yourself, am I empowering myself? Even for a tiny thing like if you're in the grocery store and you're thinking, should I buy that? You know my story about the cans of green beans. I told you. You thought I was all kidding when I used to tell you I'd stand in the store and look at cans of green beans and go, which one's the right can of green beans? Bless you. It's because I didn't know you could do that. But if you're in the store, whether it's a can of green beans or it's a new dress or it's a new car or anything like that, and you're asking yourself, should I buy that? And or your gut says you can't eat that, and you decide not to listen, you have harmed yourself by blocking your intuitive voice. Ooh, this gets right into David Hawkins and Power versus Force, and another one of the experiments we did in the class about muscle testing and energetics, and that we absolutely know the highest and best for ourselves. And what gets in the way is the stuff that's in the soil in our creative mind that has sort of, like the junkyard. There's been so much garbage that has been thrown in there that we can't even see or hear the truth. We can't even clear out so that the seed has a healthy thing. I didn't get permission to say this, so I won't say who it was, but in one of our groups, there was a discussion about this. Our Thursday groups, we get very deep, and we have a great amount of fun. And someone was sharing that there was a comment that they were in one room and their spouse was in another room, and they were hollering out something, and the spouse said, I can't hear you because I'm crinkling the garbage bag. And although that's funny, and we all know what that's like, particularly me lately since my ear's been blocked up, it's like, you have to say it in the same room with me. What are you saying? But what this person got out of it was the crinkling of the garbage bag may have made it too noisy to hear the person across the room. But what about the crinkling of the garbage that's in your creative soil, that's in your mind, that stands in the way of you hearing peace be still, that stands in the way of you hearing you are rad, you are awesome, you are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased, and you can outpicture your heart's desire. But if we've got garbage bag crinkling going on, and some of us have garbage in that bag, it's not even a new bag that's crinkling, that's going to stand in the way. So what Carolyn Mace is saying is you need to be able to ask yourself about what's going on in your life, whether it's a lesson or a challenge, or whether it's about a purchase of, oh, should I eat that chocolate cake? Oh, no. Your body says, no, I really don't want the beer and pork rinds and chocolate cake at midnight. But you go, oh, pfft, and you have it anyway. You're blocking your intuitive response, as we often do when we block spirit. When we get answers, we get signals, we get intuitive responses, and yet we go, well, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't, and we act anyway. What we want to do is clear the creative soil of our mind all the time. So whether we're planting a seed in an idea, or whether we're just listening for information about what's the best for us, that we're able to hear it, that there isn't the clog, that there isn't the garbage. She goes on to say, or Oprah asks, but you think many people are completely in the dark about their reason for living. How can someone be so confused about their reason for being here? Now that's a pretty big question. Carolyn Mace goes on to say, I'll tell you how. Oh, don't we love that when someone says, here's the answer. I'll tell you how. This is what you do. Whew, okay. Because people define their life by what they want versus what they have. So I'm going back to the Art Linkletter quote. People get fixated on something and they have to have it, even though the voice inside them tells them it's not meant for them. They want their reason for living to be a singular thing, like a career or a relationship, because this makes an individual feel secure in their physical world. Hold that part there, because we were talking about we tend to be human 3D animals, and we're much more comfortable understanding, can translate, and deal with what we can see, taste, feel, and touch. When we start getting into the etheric and the energetic and the quantum field about something that's invisible that we're trying to outpicture or understand, and we haven't seen it yet, or secondary to that, we see it, but nobody else does, whoa, that can be dangerous, because you start to get an intuitive response. You start to get a vision, and you want to share it with the people you love or like-minded people, and they're going, huh? What are you talking about? Well, oh, you're crazy, you can't do that, or somebody's already done that, or you're too old, or do you have enough money, or whatever it is that someone might respond. And so you've got this vision, you see, sense, and know something intuitively, but because you don't have anything concrete to support it, and then people around you go, I don't think so, you often lose it. You release it. It gets buried underneath the stuff that comes in on top of your creative soil. So that seed and idea that you had with a vision, with intuition, with desire that got planted went into dead soil. I'm sounding pretty Christian right now with, there's that story of Jesus the Christ, and you plant the seed. And if it's not soil that's rich and fertile and nourished and loved, how can it grow? So if we have within our creative mind some old junk stuff, some garbage thinking, stinking thinking, we need to clear that out so that our ideas can be planted and nourished. Carolyn Mace goes on. I'll back up a little. They want their reason for living to be a singular thing, like a career or relationship, because this makes an individual feel secure in their physical world. We do not fare well in the realm of the invisible. So telling someone that their purpose is multi-layered and includes the arduous journey of discovering who they really are is not always the answer people want to hear. But consider the complexity of this question. What is my reason for living? How can that question not include a journey into the depths of your own life? What is my reason for living? When you plant a green bean seed, or any other, I guess, sort of organic seed, when you plant it and you give it all the right environment, it does not question. It goes forward to plant itself into the fertile law, and it grows by the very divine and spiritual nature that's inherent in it, and it continues to grow because it doesn't know how not to. You plant a green bean seed like that, and it doesn't grow up and go, am I supposed to be a tomato? I wasn't sure. You like the color red, and tomatoes have more vitamin C. It doesn't ask that. The seed is clear in and of itself. You choose the seed that you wish to plant so that it outpictures that, matches that little package, that seed packet. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to look at the outside of the box to make sure you know what you're putting the pieces together. You have a visual picture so that it matches. I did not look at these things and go, well, I love green beans, but I like my canned green beans. Oh, I would really like zucchini. I've seen live fresh zucchini, so make it the zucchini. I didn't do that. I planted a green bean seed and wanted a green bean plant. Pretty simple. But for us humans, we might plant a seed of desire and intention and intuition, and we put it in there, and then all of the garbage thoughts, all of the race mind, race consciousness thoughts of your parents or your grandparents or society or whoever you're working, or somebody at the water cooler at work, and they go, oh, that's crazy. That's never going to work. Why would you want that? No, no, no. You need to do this, this, and this. And suddenly the little seed goes, ugh. That's my reason for living, to be the seed that I plant. Oprah asks, so there's nobody here on earth whose life doesn't have a purpose or a path? Ooh. For those of us who are over the age of 30, probably we have maybe dismissed the idea of a purpose and a path, because we're on it, or we've been there, done that. So we don't necessarily actively consider ourselves as having a passion, a purpose, or a path. Carolyn answers, correct. If you have life, if you're alive, you have purpose. It can't be otherwise. One atom is as purposeful as our planet. What is in one is in the whole. Wow, that sounds like science of mind to me. But it's true. I cannot take you out and say you are separate from the whole. If someone says to me, well, how do I find my life purpose? I respond, you never lost your life's purpose. Number two, I say to them, have no judgments about your life, no expectations. Give up the need to know what happens tomorrow. Just be fully present and appreciate all that is in your life right now. Well, my goodness, does that not sound like everything we teach? Does it not sound like Steve Flowers and mindfulness? Does it not sound Buddhist, Zen, unity? I mean, all of the spiritual teachings. It's all right there. She goes on with, expectations are usually predicated on the idea that everyday things happen to ordinary people that shouldn't happen to you. People hold the idea of being ordinary in absolute contempt. So when they face illness, poverty, or any kind of catastrophe, they say, I can't believe this happened to me. Well, who did you think it was going to happen to? The woman across the street? That makes them think, I must be on the wrong path. But what if something you thought was bad was the best thing that ever happened to you? What if that illness, that poverty, that catastrophe, what if that was part of your path? Wow, I don't know about you, but when I read that, it rocked me back to a centeredness of which I have been askew. And so it did not surprise me. I love God and all those intentions. The intention of set, back in October and November, the intention set for this year's theme of passion and purpose, and now you could add path because we like to keep it alliterative, is still coming up about directing that. What is your life's path, your life's purpose, and what stands in the way of that? And it could be as simple as the seed soil plant. Doesn't have to be big and dramatic. Don't panic because it's summer and think, oh no, I don't want to do that. It's too hot out. I'm not going to think like that. I don't want to sit and pray on that. It can be as simple as saying, oh my goodness, I probably have some old weed seeds in my mind somewhere that have been blocking or strangling the roots of the desire that I wish to experience. And if that's the case, wow, all you need to do is get clear about that, shift that, redirect your intention. You might want to get a little spiritual mind treatment support. You might want to do some spiritual practice and meditation on your own. And you clear that out and plant the seed of desire that you are seeking. Green beans, new job, new something, abundance, health, whatever it is, and trust and know that the higher order of who you are is going to come in and rooter out or rototill all the stuff that may have been blocking the soil by which you can express. Hold on. Abraham Hicks says, the thought that you think, which attracts to it, so you think it some more, which attracts to it. So you think it's some more. In other words, when you have an expectation, you've got a dominant thought going on, and law of attraction is going to deliver that to you again and again and again. Sidebar. And the law of attraction will deliver that to you again and again if it's a weed seed and a negative thought, or it's a good, healthy seed planted in good soil and something that you draw to you that you enjoy. It's the law of attraction. The law doesn't go, oh no, I know she doesn't mean that. She's just having a bad day. She doesn't feel good today. She had a rough day, so she's not really thinking and wanting that. There isn't a filter. The law, creative mind, knows. It's just, it's impersonal. If you're thinking, stinking thinking, garbage thoughts, old ideas, negative, weed seeds, it's going to go, okay, if that's what you want. But if you're thinking, well, it's a but and. You're putting in the good seeds into the good soil with joy, with that part of hope that we like, with the trust, the faith, and the joyous expectancy of, when's my little sprout coming up? Whoa! And not going, hello, God, I already did all the work. When you can shift that, then it starts to outpicture. Law of attraction. The law of attraction is going to deliver it to you again, and you say, the reason that I believe this is because it's true. And we say, the reason that you believe it is because you have been practicing that thought. All that a belief is a thought that you keep practicing. What thoughts are you practicing? I can't change that part for you. I don't do lobotomies. I don't do Spock mind meld things. Exactly. I don't know. You are the only one. You monitor, you manage, you experience your thoughts. And if you're in doubt about what your thoughts are or the general tone of your thoughts, look at the demonstrations. And if you're not demonstrating to a higher level of what you desire and feel is good and right and joyous and true and abundant and loving, I would say that you need to go back in and check your dominant thinking patterns, your weed seeds, and do some gardening this summer to pull those things out so that you may plant the seeds of desire, following your intuition and your vision. Know that the soil is healthy and rich and fertile and receptive so that you may outpicture those things in your life that you want. And if you haven't seen it yet, because that's another thing that happens to us humanly, well, I haven't seen it yet, and I'm X number of years old, or it's been X number of months, I haven't seen it yet, so I guess doesn't work. Guess not. You got to look at that thought too, because that's in there. Even if it only applied to one or two major things in your life, there is that fertile soil that says, it's not going to happen. Come on, Duchess, you know it's not going to happen. It didn't happen then, it didn't happen then, it didn't happen then. So why would you think it would happen now? Why is because I believe in what it says in my book, my textbook, Science of Mind. Principle, capital P, is never governed by precedent. So it won't matter if that in 1973, in 1992, in 2007, this and this and this didn't happen. Well, it ain't going to happen in 2014. Who am I kidding? No. Clear those thoughts out. Go for the weeds, pull them up, nurture and till and mush up the soil again and give it more light, capital L light, the infinite light of wisdom and truth. Give it more love, the infinite power, all that there is, the one healing nature of God that you are and intended to be. Love on it, and then rest in faith and trust and know without a shadow of a doubt. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that your seeds will outpicture. Wendy Wasserstein, a playwright who won a Tony. Don't live down to expectations. Go out there and do something remarkable. Do something remarkable. For me, the past couple of weeks, this one isn't mine, I know. The fact that I planted a little seed and it grew. Yeah, it took a couple extra weeks than the rest of the students in the class, but I grew it. That's remarkable. Yes, I would like to do bigger remarkables. There's no doubt. I have bigger visions and bigger remarkables to do. But that's remarkable. So you may have something as simple as that you need to do to re-inspire yourself that you are remarkable, that you are rad, that you are here in life with a purpose, and that you have a path that will unfold before you. Oh my goodness, I probably have talked way too long. Things turn out best for the people who make the best out of the way things turn out. So if your life doesn't look exactly as you thought it would when you were a little kid, and you were growing up and you wanted to be an astronaut or a doctor or a farmer or a ballerina, the dreams that we may have had, and now people want to be an IT director and a robotics engineer maker, those things. But you're not doing that now. Look at what you have. Go back to what we talk about all the time, even it's in E squared. I think she said it here. Appreciate, as always, appreciate, embellish, affirm, and dream. Remember that you are awesome. Remember that you stand smack in the middle of the field of all potentiality. And no matter how many times something or some things did not outpicture, did not manifest, that should not deter you from today. Let's plant new seeds together, please. Let's go within. So let whatever has been stirred or rustled, nudged, poked, or prodded by today's lesson just drift down, dissolve into the stillness of this present moment. You don't have to think about what may have contributed to any thoughts or ideas, and you don't have to think about how am I going to make all of this happen and make it my own and transfer it into seed, soil, plant. Just be here now. That's a very bold, brave, and remarkable thing to do. To be present fully. Breathe in the next breath without the expectation of needing to do or think or feel anything else. And then take the next breath in gratitude because that breath came without you having to do anything. That breath was part of the natural divine order of who you are. And so now, as you sit and sink into the chair that contains you, give yourself permission to open to the infinite mind of God, to the one mind, the one life, spirit, God, the presence, the force, call it what you will. But that major animating factor of life that created you, created the life that you witness and experience, and know that you are it. You are one with the one. And that all those things that the one has outpictured, a little green bean plant, a newborn baby, the chairs you sit in, the job that you seek, the additional abundance or healing and wholeness that you're seeking, all of that is coming from that one, and you are one with it. There is no separation, and it is not denied to you. So breathe in again, and then know that that which you desire in your heart, you take into the capital M mind, and you begin to plant the seeds of idea, desire, intuition, vision, and you plant it into that fertile, rich soul of spirit that you are by nature. We call it the creative mind, the creative law, the law that works. Love points the way, law makes it possible. So if love has pointed you in the direction of a seed, of an idea, plant it into the soil and know that it is good and rich soil. And then let it do its work. Trust that process. So you can fill in the seeds what you want if you're seeking abundance, health, relationship, etc., etc. Put that seed into your soil right now. track it down and know that you will water it with infinite truth. You will fill it with light of wisdom, that you will sprinkle remarkableness all over it as you love on it, and then trust the master gardener, if you will, to do the rest. And then go about your day. Let new seeds of ideas pop in. Let that enthusiasm and joyous expectancy expand as you appreciate, embellish, and give thanks. This is what I know. I'm keeping it at home today. I know I talk about all of us in the planet because I know we're one. So what I know for myself, I am knowing for each of you, all of us. Therefore, I know it for other centers and other churches and other citizens of planet Earth. But right here, right now, I tend to my garden. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for giving me the tools. Thank you for renewed sunshine and water and light and love every day. I didn't have to do anything to make that happen. I don't have to do anything to make the seeds grow. My charge is to be clear, receptive, know, trust, allow, and let it be. And so with that, I just now joyously, lovingly take all of the service, whatever seeds I've just planted, this whole concept and idea, and just like a dandelion that you hold in front of your mouth and you go, and you see them scatter and release. Let go, let God, let it be, and join me as we say together, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen.